It's your daily dose of Donna, and welcome to the show. Today is Friday, September 27th. We have made it to the end of the week. It's Friday. It means it's the eve of the weekend. It means we have 2 days off to do nothing but go down P. Diddy rabbit holes. Oh, just kidding. Been doing that for the last freaking 72 hours. We have so much to talk about today. I didn't think it was going to be as full of an episode until boom, 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 boom. Every Friday morning. I mean, you guys, I can't keep up. I can't keep up. So thank you for coming to the show. I have to just shout out before we even intro everything that we hit number 38 on the top TV and film charts yesterday on Apple Podcasts. You think that's a big deal or not? It's a huge deal. Why? Because I am in a crowd of incredible podcasters. You guys, I've got the Watch What Crappens guys there. I got Ryan Bailey. I've got Kate Casey. I've got Two Teas in a Pod. And I have the 7,000, rewatch podcasts in that category. Yes, I am competing with the Seventh Heaven rewatches and the SVU rewatches and the New Girl rewatches and all of that. So we are very excited to get up on the charts, get more people in the Daily Dose of Donna landscape. You guys, this is a show that just keeps growing and showing, right? Right? Who's growing and showing in the audience, huh? Who is growing and showing on this gorgeous Friday? Let's get into the show. This is your daily dose of Diddy. I mean, Donna. Donna.
Can you imagine? Not feel the magic. Can you imagine? Not feel the
It's definitely a Friday. Are you feeling the Friday energy? There's a lot going on. Oh, so many of you guys are saying that you've been here for a long time. You're all over the place. You're watching from everywhere. Shout out to the Florida people, you guys. I want you guys to, I have to stop saying shout out. It gives me the heebie jeebies, if you know what I mean. I want you guys to stay safe. Those of you that are in the eye of Hurricane Helene, I've been watching the news yesterday, this morning. I've been seeing some crazy footage. I saw some amazing heroic footage. I saw all kinds of things. It really, it's a very, very huge, big hurricane that is taking down a lot of cities, flooding, winds, power outages, animals. I am praying for the animals, those animals. But here's something that I don't understand. And you guys maybe tell me. I really don't understand this thinking because this happens with every single hurricane. There are people that are being told, you must evacuate. You have to evacuate. You have to evacuate. And they don't evacuate. And when I'm not talking about just anyone that's around the store, I'm talking about those people that are in the eye where they know this is going to flood and they don't evacuate. Is it a resource issue? Is it, and I understand evacuating is not a joke. Like that's a huge, huge deal. You have to pick up and pack up everything. You have to have a place to go. So it's a big deal. And a lot of people, I think, want to stay to protect their home and do everything that they can. But I feel like this happens every single time, right? Someone finally says, oh no, I got to go. And they can't get out. And then we end up seeing all of these people. Yeah. So Jamie says it's a lot to do with money or having somewhere to go. So awful. It's awful. It's just an awful situation for all of these people. I had a feeling that that was probably what it comes down to because think about it. If someone said, Donna, right now you have to evacuate. I mean, I have family, but if they had to evacuate too, and we all had to find a hotel somewhere else and all of our city had to, I mean, it's got to be insane. So those are the people that don't have exactly cars, family, anyone. I am praying for everyone. I know that you guys are not watching Daily Dose of Donna if you're in the eye of the storm right now, but if you are, close to anyone that is, please know I am thinking about you, sending prayers. Anytime, my son last night asked me, my 9-year-old was like, have you ever been in a natural disaster? And I'm like, yeah, I was in the Northridge earthquake. I mean, that to me was a natural disaster. It was disastrous. And he said, no, like a real disaster. And I was like, well, I guess, I mean, when you put it that way, no, I haven't been in a flood or a hurricane. But it's really, really sad. Yeah, it gives me flashbacks of Katrina. It gives me flashbacks of all of that. I have a lot of friends that I met because they moved out to Los Angeles after Katrina. They went through that hurricane. I will never ever forget the images from Hurricane Katrina. I'll never forget so much of that, right? The images, the footage, it was unlike something you've ever seen before. What year was that? 2000, was it 3 or 4? It was early 2000s. And then do you guys remember the Kanye moment when he got up on the fundraiser? Like the telethon? I forget who he was with in that clip. Oh, it was such a crazy experience. I can only imagine. I mean, the positive is that you get a heads up, whereas, with a lot of these other ones, you don't. Like earthquakes, obviously, you don't. Or even like some of these fires, huge fires in California. We get these crazy fires that take out tons of homes. It's just awful. Oh, it was Mike Myers. That's what it was. It was Mike Myers. Where's Mike Myers? Shrek? Where is he? So I Married an Axe Murderer, best movie of all time. Where's Mike Myers today? I'm sure he's around, right? He's doing his thing. He's probably just Austin powering his way. Yes, it was the lack of help from the federal government during Katrina. George Bush hates black people. That's what he said. That was a crazy, crazy time. That was our first like hot mic moment. I feel like as a society, as a world, we were all like, it was crazy. Um, yeah, Mike Myers really was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Anyway, I think federal aid is very, very challenging when it comes to these things. You know who's doing always? This is the Bethenny I like. Bethenny is the kind of Bethenny that I like is the Bethenny behind Be Strong, which she doesn't say Be Strong anymore. So I don't know. Maybe she does, but I didn't see her say specifically Be Strong. It was something like her donating link was something along the lines of like let me see if I can find it. Like a empowerment. Emp- uh, let me pull up her Instagram because I know she was posting about the floods. This is the Bethenny that I miss. It's because she is such a baller and she really, really got lost in the chicken salad of it all. But I mean, people are obsessed with that. So I can't say she's doing a bad job. She does say be strong. She does. Okay. This is what she says about it. It looks like she's in warehouses. I don't know exactly where she is, but she left Paris from being a supermodel and went straight to the ground.
To Florida. My team is distributed throughout the Big Bend area. I'm hearing that water is already a mile inland, that houses are destroyed. It's going to be a very, very big relief and recovery effort. So I'm going to my warehouse to make sure that we are set for the elderly, for pets, for reconstruction, for rebuild, for babies, for you name it. So donate to Bethenny.com/bestrong.
Okay, so it is Be Strong. And I don't know, I'm not telling you to donate to her because I have absolutely no idea if she is if she has a legitimate foundation or anything. So I don't trust anyone with these things. Like I definitely don't trust the Red Cross after everything I've read and seen about that. So there's a lot of people that you have to be careful with whom you're giving your money to. The Chicken Salad Relief Fund, that is what she has now decided to put her money in. Someone said in the comments of Bethenny's in that Instagram post, someone said, wow, from a supermodel to a superhero. And she goes, I'm a supermodel first, which makes me laugh. Like Bethenny does have those things about her that are quite entertaining to watch. Like she just still has that wit above her, or on her. So I actually do appreciate that about her. Okay, that being said, love you guys in Florida. I love all my dosers, but I got a lot of Florida dosers, I'm sure of, because I saw in the Facebook group that a lot of you guys have been talking there. So thinking about you guys. Let's move on to get into today's stories because when I tell you, there's so many and I don't even know where to start. Let's start with Kim Richards because this is a pretty crazy story. As you guys know, well, maybe you don't know, but this happened this morning, like as I was kind of putting together all my stories for the show, I found this one story about Kim Richards, and I'm telling you, This is breaking news. It just came out right now. Okay, my TMZ is only coming up in Spanish. That is not going to work. Why? TMZ.com. It's in Spanish. Translation available. That's not going to work. Guess we'll pull it up on the computer. So yes, Kim Richards, unfortunately, it looks like she is definitely not maintaining her sobriety, which is just so sad. According to TMZ, let me just get this up. According to TMZ, Kim Richards had an altercation and it had to do with the house. And you're going to think this is crazy because everything we've ever talked about with Kyle and Kim starts on that first season, the end of the first season in the limo when Kyle, you're an alcoholic and you stole my goddamn house. Remember that? So this is definitely not good news in any capacity. It says Kim Richards has been shut out by her entire family, TMZ has learned, but it's a case of tough love. It's giving Shannon and Tamara, I'm just saying. Because we're told she's fallen off the wagon and was placed on a psychiatric hold earlier this month. But that hasn't ended the drama. So law enforcement sources tell TMZ that they showed up at a home Kyle owns in the LA area. So it's not her home up in Encino, the big mansion. It's not that house. I imagine Kyle has multiple homes. We know Sutton bought one of them. She bought it, right? She's not renting it. Or did Sutton rent it for a while? Maybe that's the house, the one that Sutton rented for a while and then moved out of. Who knows? They showed up at a home Kyle owns in the LA area Wednesday night after a neighbor called them in hopes of getting Kim removed from the house. Now, a neighbor called the cops to get Kim Richards removed from the house because the neighbors were concerned about Kim's behavior in the past. Oi. That's definitely not good. We're told Kyle had let Kim live in the house, but she moved out a while back. And Wednesday, Kim showed up again. Law enforcement says Kyle told them she did not want Kim in the house, but because the family had cut off all contact, hoping that it would help her get sober again. Cops explained to Kyle that it was a civil matter and she'd have to file an eviction action. Kim remains in this house. And this is where it gets worse because law enforcement also says that in early September, so a few weeks ago, Kim was at a Hilton hotel in the LA area and was incoherent. So I'm guessing she was at the Beverly Hilton. I doubt she was at the, I can't imagine she was at the San Fernando Hilton, if there is even one. Kyle was there. The cops were called. And when they arrived, they asked Kim to leave, but she refused. Law enforcement tells TMZ Kim was placed on a 5150 psychiatric hold and taken by ambulance to the hospital. Law enforcement sources say when they showed up Wednesday night, Kyle told them Kim is in deep trouble over her sobriety and the family is very worried about her survival. So this is clearly something that has been happening for a long time, the sobriety issue with Kim. We saw it take place on season 1. We had no idea how long it had been going on before that. Then Kim allegedly got sober and then she would show up in these scenes and act a little kind of kooky. And in her confessionals, there was a lot of kookiness and it was really, really very uncomfortable to watch seeing Kim through the years, up and down and up and down. Now, I was under the impression that all of the sisters were in really good shape. I thought, wow, it's weird. You take Mauricio out of the demand and then all of a sudden, or not the demand, the family, and all of a sudden all the girls love each other. That's what I thought. I had no idea that this was something that was like a big, issue in the family. The last time we saw Kim on Kyle's Instagram, I'm just pulling it up right now, was last summer. If you remember, right before they announced the separation, there were pictures. This was like part of the reason that we all thought this was an issue because there was pictures of them at Kim's daughter's wedding. And in these pictures, I'll show them to you really fast. In these pictures, Kim and Kyle seemed totally fine. They seemed very happy. They seemed, I know this looks like it's kind of hard to see. It's not that big, but this looks like all the daughters. And this is all the family like singing along. Kim's in this video. I think that's Kim right there in the black next to Kyle. I mean, next to Kathy and Kyle. And they were doing really adorable like karaoke vibes. And oh, I'm going to different posts. Whoops. That was basically what she posted about it. So it looked like they were having a really nice family time and there was a lot of pictures and I thought everyone was good. I mean, here's another picture. Oh, this is when I guess Whitney is her name. Whittles Davis is getting married. So this was Kim's daughter and there's Kim and there's Kathy and there's Kyle. And this was May 16th, 2023. So it's been about a year since we've seen pictures of them together online. And who knows, this could have been a very recent thing. I'm going to guess that Kyle put Kim up in one of her homes that was empty. And this is totally like just assuming. And Kim was drinking something. And Kyle said, you can't do that and stay here. Because I'm sure Kyle was letting Kim stay for free or like for a very small amount of money. I think Kyle knows that she has the money in the family and Kim does not. And then it was kind of probably, I'm assuming it was probably some sort of ultimatum. If you drink, you can't stay here. Now, I guess no one was there, but essentially what this looks like is that Kim Richards is squatting in her sister's home, which is like a thing that happens. Like it's a real deal thing that happens, especially in California. I've heard so many stories of these like squatters at Jennifer Aniston's house and like whatever. You know who's squatting at my house? My kids. My kids have squatted. How do I get them out? Eviction. Start doing your own laundry. Anyway, so I feel really, really sad about this for Kim because as you guys know, and so many of you are struggling and have struggled with sobriety or have loved ones that are struggling with sobriety. And a lot of you are saying that this was definitely, it's not a linear line. It's not a straight line. This is the road to sobriety. It has ups and it has downs. And a lot of you, I think, agree that Kyle is acting in the right way. See, I agree too. I think I had to cut someone in my family. I had to cut someone in my family off for the same reason. You can't support someone who continues to not want to help themselves after a while, right? You can only do so much. Kim is like a 50-some-year-old woman. This is not forever. She is older than Kyle. Kyle is her younger sister. So it's really, really probably so stressful for Kyle. And even though now Kyle doesn't have Mauricio, remember how Kim used to always kind of like throw that into Kyle's face? Like, well, you have Maurice. You have Maurice. And it was like a big thing that Kim was like, I don't have help. And you have your husband. And that's true. I guarantee you, Kyle is where she is in her life majorly because she was also married to a very, very successful businessman who created a huge, amazing, income and lifestyle for them. But just because you're single does not give you an excuse to kind of like fall apart. She had a lot of children. Remember how many children she wanted? She wanted even more. She had a lot of children. She struggled with sobriety. She struggled. I mean, if you rewatch early Beverly Hills and see those scenes where Lisa Vanderpump tries to hook Kim up with, was it Mohammed? I can't remember. They're from Muhammad. And it's so like awkward. Kim is like so awkward. I mean, it's just so tough. It's really, really tough. Anyway, I feel for them. Kyle does not need this. Kyle does not need this. She has got, for some reason, I think Kathy Hilton is just so unbothered by any of it. Does anyone else feel that way too? Now, Kathy is not full sisters with Kyle and Kim. Kathy shares a mother with Kyle and Kim. Kyle and Kim share a mother and father. So Kyle and Kim, I think Kyle will feel a little always more, what's the word? Like not connected, but like almost like you have to take care of them. Um, she also, I believe her mother who died, Big Kathy, said something to Kyle about like, take care of your sister. I feel like there was a comment about it. Oh, it was Martin, not Muhammad. Was it Martin or was it Muhammad? Muhammad is the Hadid, right? Yeah, I don't think it was Muhammad. It was Martin. Oh my God. So anyway, this is a really, really tough situation. And Michelle says Big Kathy was the architect of this family mess. She taught those girls to prioritize the wrong things. Absolutely. Big Kathy cheated on Kathy's dad with Kim and Kyle's father. Big Kathy is a Looney Tune. If you read any of the books, she was a Looney Tune. And she really did, I think, put her kids in a bad situation. Now, Kathy, meanwhile, is out on the town. As of last night, this happened on Wednesday. You guys remember, this is Friday. This happened on Wednesday. Her sisters. And meanwhile, last night there was let me see if I can pull it up really fast. There was a DirectTV event that took place at, I don't know where. And it was like a reality, I don't even know. It was like a reality united group of people. It was crazy. There were so many reality stars there. Let's just go through it because I know that I know Kathy was there. So of course, Ariana and Sheena at the same event, you guys, at the same event. Apparently, Ariana did do she did a interview with E News, I believe, and she said something along the lines of that she has no idea about Vanderpump Rules. She does not talk to Lala. She talks to Sheena every once in a while. Ariana, we cannot continue to even talk about Vanderpump Rules. Like, it's over. It's as over as like it's bye. We have to leave it in the back. We have to move on. Here's Sheena and Ariana. Here's Meredith, Karen Huger. There's a lot of leave for Karen. And here's Kathy looking unbothered and having fun on a red carpet the day after her sister gets called by cops and needs to get evicted and drinking. So Kathy is, to me, very much everything's fine personality. She was like that with Paris Hilton. We saw that over and over. We saw so much of that, which is really a toxic I think personality disorder. In my opinion, like I feel bad for Kyle because we know Kyle Richards already to be incredibly anxious. She's an anxious, neurotic type of personality. We've seen her through the years. And so she's carrying the weight of this on her own. And I feel sad for Kyle because I feel like she's the only one that Kim has in her corner, like really in her corner. I feel like Kathy's in her corner, like, yeah, I'll give you $100, or like, yeah, you can stay in the hotel for a minute, but she's not really there for her. And maybe I'm insane to think that, but I think that Kathy likes to be like, everything's fine. Everything's fine. And you know how I know that? There was an article that I saw this morning, a headline of why Rick and Kathy Hilton's marriage has lasted through the years. And when I tell you, the advice is something that you get like in Marriage for Dummies. It was one of those. We never go to bed angry. We always make sure to say, I love you before we go to bed. I am very sorry, but anyone who's been married knows that is actually impossible to do and feel. Yeah, I could go to my husband whom I am angry with and in a huge fight with or very hurt by or whatever and say, love you and go to bed. Sure. But that's absolutely not like a real I love you. So what is this? It's a sweeping under the rug. Everything will be fine. We're not going to talk about it. I think Kathy runs from confrontation in every possible way possible. And I actually feel very, very bad about Kyle having to deal with Kim on her own. And I do believe maybe her daughters too, Kim's kids, sorry. So maybe Kyle and Kim's kids are the only ones that are like they're still having to take care of for Kim. Yes, Sarah says, I feel sadder for Kim. I feel more sad for Kim. Of course I do. Of course. I mean, Kim is really, really in a bad place, it sounds like. So While we're here, do you guys want to see the rest of the pictures? Maybe just because, why not? Just to see all the other reality stars that were here. We have Kristen Doty. Do you guys really want to know what I think? I don't want to be mean. Listen, she got engaged. I'm very happy for her. Kristen Doty will never not look a little messy to me on a red carpet. Do you feel that? Ever? Ever? This is obviously the cast of The Valley. This is Michelle Lally and Janet. Janet looks pretty good for having a baby recently. She has got some nice long legs. Michelle and Jesse went on their Instagram stories in the last couple of days and really opened up about like how hard co-parenting was. It was a little much for me. But speaking of, here we have Jesse Lally and Tom Schwartz. Now, oh, okay. I guess it could be a different People magazine sign because I was like, oh, this shows their height difference. Like Tom Schwartz looks a lot taller than Jesse. I do believe Jesse is pretty small. I can't believe Tom Schwartz. Oh, jump scare. That's a close-up picture in the lineup with Mercedes. Like, I went to the next page for those of you listening on the audio. I've got Reza on the left and Gigi on the right. These are Shaws of Sunset stars. And then Mercedes is in the middle, and she's like so close up looking into my soul. Like Mercedes is literally yelling at me right now through this picture. It's wild to see. This is not a good picture of Mercedes. I mean, bless Mercedes' heart, but that girl struggles, I think, a lot with her fashion choices and her looks. Here are the two couples. Actually, in this picture, this is very cute. This is Kristen and what's his name again? Please tell me. Is it Luke? It's Luke, right? And then, of course, we have Brock with his blonde shaved head. He looks good, actually. I think Brock is a good looking man. I do. I wonder if he's wearing heels in this picture. Like, I would like a full body of Brock to see if he's wearing heels. Guys, I had to do it. But here's Alexis and Johnny J. Okay, I will tell you one thing. In last night's episode of OC, which we'll get into later, we saw a flashback of Johnny J and Shannon. Did you guys remember this in last night's episode? There was a flashback of Johnny J and Shannon, and there was also, Vicky and I don't remember who else was at that dinner. There was like a few different people. And Shannon and Johnny J are sitting there, and Johnny J looks awful. Like when I tell you, he looked awful in the flashback. He looked tired. He looked maybe drunk. He looked busted. So I will say, and maybe that's the money that, that's plastic surgery money. Who knows? But Johnny J does look better with Alexis than he did with Shannon. Like just physically, he looks healthier now. And then there's Joe De La Rosa. Remember her? Season 1 of OC. Shocking why she was there. Here, of course, we have, oh my gosh, who is this? Is this Jen Tran? Yeah, Jen Tran, who was from The Bachelorette, and she's obviously on Dancing with the Stars. And then we have Jessie from Mormon Wives. Those girls don't go away. Here we have Mary from Selling Sunset with her man. What's his name again? Something French. And Kendra Wilkinson, who looks really, really pretty and healthy and like real. I was actually happy to see this. Here we have Allie Luber, Allie Bally. Guys, I'm sure she's very nice. Not a reality TV star for me. And here on the right is who? Jenna Johnson. Am I crazy? Who's Jenna Johnson? Does anyone know? Who's Jenna Johnson? Someone tell me. That I don't know. I'm too old. So it was a reality star a vibe. It was a reality star vibe last night. Romaine, that's Romaine Lettuce. That is Mary Bennett's husband, boyfriend. Okay. Oh. Okay, Jenna Johnson is on Dancing with the Stars. She's a pro on Dancing with the Stars, Val's wife on Dancing with the Stars, and then she's with Joey, who is from what's it called? Bachelor. I mean, that was a kind of who's who of reality stars last night. Vicente is here. Everyone was asking in the comments. Vicente is here. He finally showed up. I mean, I'm going to dock his pay, guys. It's 11:35. What does he want to be fashionably late for Daily Dose? I will tell you guys right now, I have 430 people live watching the show. have you subscribed? Make sure to subscribe because we're about to get into some pretty big things. For example, we do need to talk a little bit about Diddy, which we will after I tell you guys about iRESTORE. So, iRESTORE is the sponsor of Daily Dose of Donna this week. iRESTORE, ooh, let me get my props. iRESTORE. It is the clinically proven advanced hair growth system designed for women who want to say goodbye to thinning hair and hello to volume. Ladies, we all know the struggle. Your hairbrush is starting to look like a stuffed animal, and your shower walls have enough hair on them to build a wig. If you're tired of dealing with thinning hair or hair loss, listen up. I don't want to mess up my hair, so I'm just going to show you what it would look like. This is what it looks like. So you can get a screenshot of this gorgeousness of my Darth Vader look, of my Spaceballs Rick Moranis look right here. It is the most powerful device on the market, packed with 500 lasers and LEDs to provide maximum scalp coverage to help you grow thicker, longer, healthier hair. The FDA-cleared iRESTORE Elite harnesses the power of low-light level therapy, a clinically proven method to regrow thicker and fuller hair. And it's non-invasive, it's pain-free, and it's drug-free. You can grow thicker, healthier hair naturally with visible results in just 3 months. It's a 12-minute session, no drugs, no surgeries. And the best part is you have a 12-month money-back guarantee, full guarantee. And I have $625 off for you, $625 off using code Daily Dose, one word, iRestoreLaser.com. Use code Daily Dose to get $625 off your red light treatment at home to regrow your hair. Thank you, iRESTORE. Beth wants to know, do you sit on your couch at night and watch your shows on with this on? And I say, yes, but I do it in bed. I do it in bed. That was for Vicente. He's looking at her. I don't think he can really see with the lights. Donna Vader. It's a 12-minute session. Okay. We got to get into the stories. Yeah. So there is Diddy. Where do we start? So Diddy has been obviously incredibly, overpowering in our feeds. We've been talking about it. We've been obsessing it, and we've been going down deep Diddy holes. That being said, oh my God, I'm going to cover this in just a second, Sarah. This is so exciting. 2 of my dosers met in the UK. I'm dying. Okay, we'll talk about this in a second. Let's get back to Diddy. So a lot of stuff has happened, but the most important is that there has been a new lawsuit against P. Diddy. And I tell you this, I told you yesterday, and you actually really don't need to be a internet sleuth or a psychic to assume that there's going to be new lawsuits all the time. The more that come out, the more are going to come out. I can't even. Heather Johnson, thank you so much for giving your super chat. She says, for Daily Dose of Diddy. I mean, Donna. Love you, Donna. That is so sweet. Thank you guys so much for being here. Okay. Sean Diddy Combs is accused of sexual assault again by woman who claims he got her pregnant. And how many of you guys believe it? Party of one? Party of one. I believe it. So this is a lawsuit obtained by Page Six on Friday. A woman identified as Jane Doe alleged the jailed rapper repeatedly assaulted her over 4 years after initially meeting in 2020. This is happening until now for 4 years, you guys. This is after the Cassie stuff. If you think that Cassie stuff stopped him, it didn't. The first lawsuits, the second lawsuits, it didn't stop him. This guy was going until the last final day. This anonymous woman also claimed Combs got her pregnant before suffering a miscarriage. The alleged victim, repped by attorney Joseph Chiacho, claimed she first met Combs overseas before he invited her on an all-expenses paid vacation. The woman claimed she regularly visited Combs at his homes in LA, New York, and Miami between 21 and 22. She alleged that he used coercive and harassing language to get her to come over. often sending drivers to her home for intimidation. As a result of their alleged encounters, she claimed to have sustained physical injuries, which included waking up with purple bruises and a bite mark on her feet in the spring of 2022. This woman further alleged that Diddy would spike her alcoholic beverages and even force her to take ketamine, 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 among other drugs. This is like, remember ketamine and Matthew Perry, hello, during an alleged incident in July 2022, which caused her to black out. The woman found out she was pregnant shortly after the alleged assault. Before suffering a miscarriage, she claimed Diddy's associates harassed her to get an abortion. The Jane Doe alleged the rapper reportedly called and texted her up until July 2024, making her fear for her safety. She claimed the music mogul tracked her location and monitored her conversations to ensure she stayed silent about the abuse. The woman is seeking an unspecified amount of damages for trauma, financial injury, and physical injury. TMZ was the first to finally promote this lawsuit. Okay. So, if this is true, this is a lawsuit, he has not been charged with anything with this lawsuit. So, if this is true, which my spidey senses say at least a portion of it has to be true, I'm assuming she has multiple pieces of evidence. I'm assuming she has text messages. I'm assuming she is holding on to some of this stuff, or else it's just he said, she said, and that's going to be tough. But I'm also sure that there's some records of her getting on flights. There's some records of her entering and exiting these properties, security cameras, etc. So I imagine that she's not going through the process of getting out there and not even putting her name out there. This is not for fame, right? She's a Jane Doe. She's not going out there and going through this entire process to serve him with a lawsuit for fame or for any other reason. This is not a Gloria Allred even moment. This is another attorney that, because a lot of people struggle when they see Gloria Allred doing these press release, like these, not press releases, like press conferences with these victims, because they feel like she's very, she's big on like getting the whole spectacle of it. And this is someone that went to another attorney and went after her and are going after him. And I believe this 100% to be true. I believe, even if not every detail of it is true, portions of it are. I believe she probably was enjoying a moment of it or feeling like she was into it until all of a sudden it got too much. And, I think it's very easy for people to say, well, why don't they leave? Why don't they stop? Why don't they leave? We saw what happened to Cassie in that hotel room or that hotel lobby. I don't believe anyone can judge anyone for not leaving an abusive person when you literally see that you feel like your life is on the line. These people in Diddy's life are all magically just dying left and right for the last 20 years. It's really insane. It feels really like a movie, more than a movie. It feels like we're watching a murder mystery, true crime doc. However, this has like our icons involved. So Diddy is once again like added to the list. This man will be completely screwed over. There is absolutely no way he's going to ever walk free streets. I can't imagine with all of this against him. I would be in absolute shock if he gets away with it, because I don't even think we've heard it all. I think it's going to keep coming out, right? Okay. I need to tell you guys something that, well, first I'll say this. You know how we were saying how when people have bad things about them, they try to do things to distract, right? It's the distraction method. I hate to say it, but I believe that Kim Kardashian going to like the courthouse and seeing the Menendez brothers and stuff right when all of this is coming out, like I think a lot of this stuff is distraction. I really do. I really do. Not to say Kim Kardashian is like responsible for Diddy's behavior, but I think whenever you have someone that's tied in with someone and then all of a sudden they do something else, it's distraction. So Jay-Z, for example, he's very much tied into this. People are saying he's next. Jaguar Wright is saying he's definitely involved. And he's next on the like he's now making all these waves online about donating millions of dollars to Hell's Kitchen if he gets the license to be able to open a casino. I'll just donate to this city because I'm a good man, And I'm not saying that Jay-Z is not a good man. Nothing has been proven. I'm just saying that these things are somehow connected. I do believe. I do also think that it's interesting that Usher was here in Los Angeles last night performing Lots of people were there. It was kind of surprising to see in my feed personal friends of mine being there because I can't in any way support Usher anymore. And Usher is very lucky that he had his halftime performance at the Super Bowl last year, because I don't believe he would have had the same reception by the time this next Super Bowl happens next year. I do believe it's going to start to go worse for Usher, in my opinion, just from what I've seen. Now, Usher is also a victim. You have to understand this. Usher is a victim of all of this as well. You know, Usher was given to P. Diddy when he was 14 years old by L.A. Reid. By L.A. Reid, okay? L.A. Reid, I've worked with him before, you guys. That's quite a story. Maybe I'll tell you another day. I wonder if you guys will be able to hear this. I'm gonna see if you guys will be able. Actually, if I just pull up it on TikTok. This is on TikTok. I found a video I posted on my stories the other day of Usher on Howard Stern years ago, where he was talking about his experience with Diddy. I have no idea who this account is, but this is a real clip. And this is obviously something that Usher talked about. If I could just find it. Where is it? Don't you guys like, is this conspiracy theory? But I always feel like everything I'm looking for is just like always removed. And I'm wondering to myself, like, is it? Okay, here we go. It's here. Okay. Hold on one second. Oh my gosh. No, no, no. I don't want that. This is Usher talking to Howard Stern about his experience with Diddy.
Sean Puffy comes for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending
was
you
13.
to something called Puffy Flavor Camp
There you go.
to learn some.
Flavor camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what it
Camp.
was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In
to.
the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I
Come
mean,
on.
but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you
I
saying?
went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild. It was,
So nobody
it was
tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't
But
say
you
that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't necessarily understand it.
Uh-huh.
Biggie Smalls was
Biggie
there.
Smalls was there, Lil Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people
all
are
of
hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans,
And your parents
Jodeci,
were
Mary J.
okay?
Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I
Yeah.
actually stayed up longer than them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem.
Yeah.
I had like,
What
like
a
a living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no. And I lived
Hell
with Sean
no.
Puffy
He says,
Combs
I would
for a year.
never send my kid to Puffy Camp. That's got to say a lot about what the experience was. Like, I don't know. I look back at my summer camp when I was 16 and I'm like, I can't wait to send my kids on that same experience that summer abroad, Like, guys, it's not good. Now, meanwhile, Usher was on stage last night, and guess who decides to show up to do like a little special cameo? Kevin Hart. Now, why does that matter? Kevin Hart was in a very, very big video that kind of went viral. I've posted about it already, of Kevin Hart hosting one of these late night parties at Diddy's house on video, spotlighting his face with a microphone in front of a woman in a bathtub naked, who's like laying in that bathtub, just kind of, trying to entertain all the many, many, many people in this room. And her hair goes on fire because there's candles next to the bath. And you see smoke and you see fire and you see Kevin Hart laughing and walking out of the room. Let's go somewhere else. Let's Kathy Hilton this and get out of this room and sweep it under the rug. So Kevin Hart was very much involved in any of this behavior. This was very late night. He's talking. Kevin Hart's laughing with Diddy. Oh, we don't want to know what goes on in that bed. That your bed is like, whoa, gross, you know? You think we're dumb? Like, honestly, you think we're dumb? People, Kevin Hart, Usher, you think that when you go out there on stage, shirt off, Kevin Hart takes his shirt off in the video, you know, to do like a little fun ditty, a little ditty. It's very it's fishy. Do you know what I mean? It's fishy. It comes off fishy to me. It's just like the Kardashians unfollowing Diddy the day before the raid. It's fishy. There's something that it just feels questionable when you start to see it this way. Here is the clip of Usher and Kevin Hart that is on page 6 from his live show. It may be hard for you guys to hear it or understand it, but you can kind of see the visuals.
I said no. I thought you said go. I thought you said go. Oh, I said no. Bitch, I thought you said go. I don't think I said anything. I don't took my shirt off. I took my shirt off. Hey, my damn music, man. It's 7 o'clock on the dot. No, they wanted this. I
Now,
said,
do I think that Usher and Kevin Hart are on the same level as P. Diddy in terms of what they've done? I mean, I don't know. I don't think Kevin Hart was. Jaguar Wright never said Kevin Hart's name, but Jaguar Wright said Usher should do time with Diddy. The reason why I say this about Usher, and the reason why I will never be able to look at Usher the same way, is because he was on Howard Stern saying, hell no, I would never send my own kid there. But you know what he did is he sent Justin Bieber there as a kid when he was under Usher's watch. Remember, Usher was 23. Justin was, you know, a teenager. Or Usher was older than 23, sorry. I want to say Usher was 14 and Diddy was 23 when they got together. So Usher gave, so that's shade. That's bad. Up my talk. One last thing that I found on TikTok that is so upsetting and it's so concerning. And I did the research too. So I'm going to shout out. Her name is Dr. Leslie, I believe. And I did the research too. You guys, Kim Porter, Diddy's ex, mother of her kids, lost her life at 47 years old because of pneumonia. Pneumonia is not a disease that most people get at a younger age in a healthy body and die from. It happens. It's not like a never happening situation. It happens, but it's not common. It's not something that is like an expected result of pneumonia. Usually when you get pneumonia, you get on the right kind of treatment and you usually are okay. But then again, like there was a lot of healthy people that other diseases take, so you know, that you don't expect. So it can happen. It's just interesting that it happens with a lot of young people in Hollywood, right? Please try to stick with me here. 1,000 bottles of baby oil were found in Diddy's house. Okay. Josh says 55,000 people a year die from pneumonia in the United States. I would love to know, Josh, who had the, what kind of people? Is it of a certain age that died? Because I do know, I'm not a doctor, but I do know that most people believe that Kim Porter died. A healthy woman at 47 to die from pneumonia is not the norm. That's like my age, getting pneumonia and dying right now. Like, it's not the norm. So, I don't know. Okay. So, baby oil. Baby oil was found in Diddy's home. 1,000 bottles of baby oil were found. I saw one interview with someone saying this is really suspicious that out of everything that was found in that house, the cops seized and took the 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Now, baby oil technically is not a sexual lubricant, right? And maybe you guys are using baby oil in the privates, but baby oil is not something that I'm using when, it's that time of the evening. People assume this is for their crazy orgies, etc., the baby oil. Yes, it does make you slip and slide, okay? Not talking from experience. Just heard from a friend. A friend of mine told me that if you use baby oil, you will slip and slide. It's a body situation. I've seen those massage videos. I know exactly. All right. So, a lot of people are saying, why are the cops even bringing up the baby oil? Like, why is that even on the list? We didn't know how many boxes of Cheerios were in his fridge. Or in his pantry. We didn't know how many bottles of cologne or how many bottles of Ciroc or, like all the other things. He lived in a mansion. I'm sure he had a stockpile of a lot of things. I mean, for all we know, he could have been a prepper, right? In the case of a natural emergency, a natural disaster, maybe you need some baby oil in the situation. So one person said, I don't believe it was baby oil. I don't believe they found baby oil. I believe that there was drugs in the baby oil. I personally did not fall for that in my own experience. I was thinking to myself, that feels like far-fetched. Were all these bottles opened? Were they still in cases? We haven't seen a visual. Were they in boxes? Were they all closed? No one knows, right? Lots of people have different thoughts on this. I saw a TikTok that blew me the F away. This is a TikTok that I want you guys just to understand. I like these conspiracies and I fall into them a little bit as long as they don't hurt anyone. But this is interesting. Are you ready for it? And you still love me, right? We're still good. We're still good. And I promise we're going to talk about Real Housewives of OC after this. But I gasped when I saw this. I'm going to pull it up for you guys and you take it for what you want. This is from an actual doctor. I don't know what kind of doctor she is. She could be like a Dr. Wendy. We'll see. Let's watch. And I'll tell you, Michelle says we cannot get our science-based information from TikTok. We didn't. I heard it. And then I Googled it and I actually saw proof of this online. So just bear with me.
I'm dying right now with what I just found out. Not literally dying because I'm not drinking baby oil. There is a scientific study that says if you are drinking small amounts of baby oil, it can lead to pneumonia. I will include the link. I don't know if I can post a picture because that might be copyright, but is that what Diddy was doing with the baby oil? And then all these cases of singers and celebrities dying of pneumonia?
Okay. Sounds wild. Sounds wild, right? So I Googled it. Do you guys want to join me in the Google search of it? Can baby oil, I'll pull it up in a second. Well, I guess you guys can see this. I just don't want you to see something you shouldn't see, Can baby oil cause pneumonia? Yes. Baby oil can cause pneumonia if it's inhaled or aspirated. If baby oil is swallowed and then breathed into the lungs, it can cause aspiration and pneumonia. Okay. Now, I don't want to say this is definitely an answer. I just want to say nothing would shock me anymore. Nothing would shock me. All right. That being said, let's come back to Earth. Let's all take off our alien foil hats. Let's take Craig Conover out of the building. And we can see more as more comes out, and more will continue to come out. There's absolutely no way. There is no way that we won't. This is your daily dose of conspiracy. Just a reminder, because we have almost 600 people here live. Click subscribe, get in here, get in the community, join the Facebook group. We will continue to go down all the holes. I don't like talking about Diddy and holes, but I will go in all the holes. I will put on my Diddy glasses and I will get through all the holes. I'll be like Meredith on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City with her science goggles, going through the Diddy holes, trying to find out what feels real and what doesn't. And trust me, I do not share everything with you guys because there are so many things that I see that feel so far-fetched. So I promise you, I'm not just sharing everything I see. I'm just sharing what I can. Mark says he couldn't keep his tinfoil hat on because the oil kept making it slip. Listen, stop with the baby oil. Let's move on. This episode is brought to you by Johnson & Johnson's baby oil. Just kidding. I wish I did have. Oh, I do have oil. It's not baby oil, but let's oil up for this episode. This episode is brought to you by Oiled Up Skin from Trader Joe's. All right. Let's move on. Michelle says you're only sharing what supports your conspiracies. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay. We have to be careful with what we do believe online. That's for sure. And I tell you all of this, like there is no proof in anything, but nothing shocks me. The fact of the matter is that a new lawsuit came out against Diddy, and that I do believe. I do. In other news, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are still being photographed matching walking through New York City. Can I take a shot for every single time I have seen an article on page 6 over the last 2 weeks of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds holding hands and matching, walking through the streets all loved up? Is this a joke? I can create wallpaper from all the pictures I have of them. It is unbelievable. It's like literally so incredibly over the top. It's like, Blake, figure it out. Speaking of, just a reminder, I was on an episode of Fixing Famous People this week where we talked about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. So the podcast episode is called Fixing Famous People. They're so funny. The hosts, Chris and Dominic, we had a blast. So definitely get in there. Okay. Michelle says, why are there so many pictures of Blake and Ryan? Has Ryan been at Diddy parties? I don't know. Diddy killed my grandpa. I'm just saying everything is about Diddy. I did see a TikTok that made me laugh where he said like Diddy's in retrograde. Diddy is responsible for the stock market crash. Diddy is responsible for for 9/11. Like Diddy is responsible for everything at this point. Blame it on Diddy. Change the song. Blame it on the Diddy. Let's move on. Let's talk about, I have to just cover it because it won't be good news on Monday. And I really want to get into OC, but this is just so wild. Did you guys hear this about Tori Spelling? So Tori Spelling gets not evicted. No, eliminated from Dancing with the Stars on Wednesday night. Obviously, or Tuesday night. I think it was Tuesday. Obviously, Anna Delvey goes home. We understand that. Tori Spelling goes home, and that's kind of a shock because she's actually one of the more well-known names on that show, I think, for a lot of people like us. And we, she got eliminated. She wasn't a good dancer. Okay. She looked uncomfortable. She wasn't a good dancer. That being said, Reginald VelJohnson is still trotting away in there, and he's not a good dancer. So it's really weird why some people stay and go. However, this article kind of made me laugh because it says that Tori Spelling's manager, her name is Ruth Ann Secunda. She's like in the background of a lot of Tori Spelling's podcast episodes. She has worked with her for years and years and years. And she said, I think it's an outrage that she was eliminated. I'm calling 60 Minutes to do an investigation. There was a glitch in the system. If airlines can be grounded from a glitch, there could have totally been a glitch in the voting for Tori. So I'm suspicious. What do you guys think? Do you believe that Tori Spelling, blame it on Diddy. I think Diddy got Tori Spelling eliminated. Just saying. Okay. Let's move on to Real Housewives of OC at the 1 hour mark. This is I've given you so many supersized episodes this week. I better get a supersized Happy Meal or something. Okay. I better get something supersized. All of a sudden, Lance just shows up. He's like, "You rang? Supersize me." So let's get into the stories about OC last night. Who has watched? Who is watching? Ray, by the way, in the comments says there's a Big Brother house guest who was finally eliminated. Yes, I'm not talking about Big Brother because I'm watching every episode I'm watching, but I'm not talking about it because it's like too much to get into. But it is really good, and I'm also actually like kind of annoyed that these people got eliminated on Big Brother. I digress. Real Housewives of OC. In last night's episode, we saw a variety of things. Now, I will say something, and this comes with the editing of Real Housewives, and it says on Salt Lake City and OC this week. And I like it. I like what I'm seeing. What are we seeing? We're seeing lots of flashbacks. We're seeing lots of, timestamps. We're seeing an opening scene before the beginning of the show. Do you guys notice that? Those used to be called teasers. Like if you were, or cold opens, right? Cold opens on TV shows. Cold opens on sitcoms were like that little scene. And then all of a sudden it would be like, haha, Ross, Rachel, like, haha. And then it would all of a sudden go, into the I'll be there for you. So they're doing this on Real Housewives now. I don't know if you noticed, but this scene, we got kind of like an opening scene of Emily and Tamara and who else was in that scene? Was it Gina? Gina, Emily, and Tamara talking about the night before at Jen Pedrante's house. And then, of course, we see 8 hours later, this and that. But in general, the the entire episode of OC was basically, it's another episode of the world turning on Tamara. It was a bad episode for Tamara. I think Tamara has officially lost the plot this season. It's bad. Please don't at me. Or only at me if you agree with me. How about that? Maybe you guys don't agree. I don't know how Tamara thinks that anything she's doing can be redeemable in this season. It's getting pretty bad. And all we keep hearing is we're not seeing the full story. But I don't understand why, after being on the show for so many years, this is the go-to. You're not seeing the full story. You're not seeing the full story. Now, before we get into Tamara, let's kind of go through the episode. So, of course, at the beginning, we talk about how Emily was very, very upset about what happened with the dress. It wasn't Heather's fault, but she felt like Heather wouldn't let her speak. And did you notice Tamara was kind of like backtracking because the night before she was so mad at Emily over it and was supporting Heather, but then in this breakfast, all of a sudden she's like, "Yeah, I didn't really understand that, so I'm sorry that I totally took her side. Thank you, Hello Kitty." She gave me a super chat sticker, whatever that's called, saying 6 degrees of separation. I mean, Diddy, love the hair and you. That is so kind. Thank you. So they're having this conversation. Tamara's like, it's very interesting. She's like, "Oh, that probably wasn't the right way to go. I think I'm going to go this way now." And meanwhile, we cut over to Heather and Terry in what can only be described as Heather on her worst appearance ever on Real Housewives of OC in all the years she's ever been on the show. And what I mean by that is, for the first time, and probably the only time ever again, we saw Heather as a real person, as probably who she really is in real life. Okay? Heather was in a shit mood that morning at the doctor's office when she goes with Terry. She takes Terry to the doctor's office to get a nose job because of his snoring. I'm going to guess it ain't the snoring. I'm going to guess it's the fact that something happened. Bless Terry, but if you look at a before and after, if you look at Terry from the early seasons of OC and now, something has happened on that nose. His nose has inflated. Something has happened. It's very bulbous. Am I wrong? It's really strange. And for a plastic surgeon, I agree why they would want to get that fixed. But of course, it was because of the snoring, right? We have to at least say it was because of the snoring after so many years. That makes so much sense. Heather is in a mood that I've never seen her in. Normally, Heather is like, Terry, I love you. I love you and you love me and we are a happy family. Right, Tear? But in this scene, she's like showing her true colors. She's in a pissed off mood. She says she's tired. I think she's tired. I think she's angry. Something is going on. This is the morning after Jen Perdantes. And she is literally sitting there with Terry and she's like, so why are we here? What do we have to do? What's going on? She's in a bad mood. They sit down in the office doing the blood work. Everything Terry says is annoying her. And she starts to kind of share her stories about what happened the night before. And Terry says something. He kind of says, oh, well, this is your MO. You always have to repeat yourself and like say it a few times before you move on. Something he says bothers Heather to no end, where she then cuts him off and he's not having it. And for the first time ever, we see Terry look over at production basically and say like, I'm done here. And Heather is like, they have such an unspoken secret language between the two of them in this moment. And then all of a sudden they go into the bedroom. They go into another room where she's like, stay away from the cameras, right? She pulls him into another room. You can tell. Hello, are you Mary Cosby? Did you forget you're mic'd? Haven't we seen this episode before? And she's in another room and she says to Heather, to Terry, you don't admonish me on camera. And he's like, well, then don't talk over me. And she goes, it wasn't intentional. Don't admonish me on camera. And the fact that she kept saying on camera was just so wild to think about, because it really is about the camera for her. It was exactly who Heather is in a nutshell right there. Heather is Heather Dubrow for the public. And behind the scenes, I guarantee you, Heather and Terry, there is no married couple that is that in love in public facing. Blake and Ryan, let's walk down the streets holding hands. We have 17 kids at home, but let's just like go doing a casual stroll. Ryan Reynolds has 475 businesses. And you just have so much time to casually stroll through New York. I can't remember the last time I casually strolled with Lance. I need to casually stroll more often. So this was a moment that really showed her true colors. And it really, we all knew this about Terry and Heather, but this moment made me like, I'm always going to side eye Heather now. Always will side eye Heather because of that moment. Now, they ended up, of course, getting his surgery and he's trying to be all funny. I mean, he's a little annoying with his like jokes, right? He is a little like too much. It's like a little much. So, Sarah says, snoring, that old chestnut. I'm going to get my boobs done because of the snoring. Babe, I snore. Can I get bigger boobs? I'm snoring so much today. Anyway, it was quite a moment. It was quite a moment to see. So anyway, they go to, we also see Jen and Ryan, Jen Pedranti and her man, Ryan, go shopping at, and I think Lance would like these clothes. Just going to say. I mean, don't tell Lance if you guys are talking to him secretly, but Lance likes to pretend that he is like the poster child for Tommy Bahama. I don't get it. Lance would wear my wallpaper as a shirt if I didn't stop him. Sometimes he comes out of the closet looking like he is my grandma's couch. And I'm like, Lance, what? He's like, I like it. It's fun. I think that Lance and Ryan would probably get along a little bit, although Lance has never worn bedazzled jeans or jackets like that. So they have a shopping conversation where they're talking about how happy they are that they're now getting along with Tamara. She's like, I'm so glad that Tamara and I are getting along. It's the funniest thing knowing what's going to happen later in the episode. And yeah, Ryan's like, Eddie's like not my kind of guy. It's not someone I'm going to hang out with, but whatever. And they just have this casual conversation about getting dressed and about looking a certain way and whatever, and about how the fact that he tailors his underwear. Now that is bananas. Have you ever in your life heard of someone tailoring underwear, especially a man? Well, also a woman. Who can tailor their underwear? Like what? That is a crazy, crazy thing. I don't think he goes to the tailor. I think there's another person in that tailor's office, if you know what I mean. So So then we go to I love how the comments are so funny because people are all over the place watching the show. So in the middle of talking about this, I just see a comment from Robin saying baby oil is not good for intercourse. It's like, okay. I forgot we talked about that a while ago. So and by the way, yes, the word of the day is admonish. Do not admonish me in the comments. So anyway, we what else happens in the episode? We see Katie talking to her husband about, the fact that they're going to have this dinner party. There wasn't like, oh, we had a whole Gina moment with meatball. Does anyone want meatballs? I mean, I can't even do it. Meatballs. It's the craziest way that she says it. So uh, there's a whole situation with the exes, and Gina is making meatballs, and her ex-husband, Matt, who we know was arrested for domestic violence against Gina and had a lot of issues there, is now with his new girl who we know Gina is very happy with. And I'm very happy to actually see like a healthy co-parenting situation. I find it really sweet. She offers them food. The kids aren't even really around, but she's hanging out with them. I wonder what Britt, the ex's new girlfriend, actually feels about Gina. Like, I'm dying to know. Do you think she actually likes Gina, or she's like, do we really have to go for another meatball? Do we? We really need another meatball? So they go over to talk, and in this scene we find out from Gina that she's like, you know how when Gina gets emotional, I miss Travis, but I feel like with his ex, I can't. And essentially we find out, and we kind of know these stories anyway, that Travis's ex-wife is supposedly a Looney Tune, and we've heard about this, and there's lots of things out there about her. If you do some research or Googling out there, this show is not about her, so I'm not going to go into detail about that. But Travis clearly is not able to really kind of move past that. They're stuck in some weird co-parenting nightmare post-divorce, and Gina didn't want anything to do with it. And it makes sense. So she sent Travis out, and she's like, I really wish I had what Matt has. And the funny thing is, at the end of the day, watch Gina and Matt end up back together, because that's what this is all feeling like. Keep her ex close, keep Britt even closer. Now, I did think it was sweet when she was like, I would never be able to pick a better ex or a better stepmom for my kids. I thought that was really sweet. I mean, isn't that a dream for anyone who gets divorced, that you are healthy enough in a place that you meet your ex's new partner and you're like happy and you all can get along and you like them? I mean, it's a really wonderful thing. We have a Tamra and Eddie situation where Tamra is in her house. Do you guys notice? Now, Tamra is a cleaning addict. I noticed this. She was cleaning her stove like a cuckoo, right? And she was very mad at Eddie for keeping it dirty. I did not see a speck of dust. I did not see anything. I think Tamra keeps her house light and tight, clean and tidy. Tamra is very OCD about her space. I can feel it. Do you guys, I mean, we saw it, but like I've always felt this way. Her house looks very like perfect with lots of signs about like live, laugh, love. But in this scene, she and Eddie are having a conversation about all of it. And they're talking about the podcast, and they're talking about Ryan, and they're talking about Jen, and because at this point, this podcast had come out. Now, if you guys don't remember, all about TRH, this is a podcast that the two girls that really, really love Teresa do. And Teresa from OC, they did a podcast. And a few months ago, when they were filming this around that time, they had Ryan on the episode. We talked about it on Daily Dose of Donna at the time. And Daily Dose of Donna Daily Dose. Ryan was talking very much about how the fact that he is, not happy with Tamra, really hurt by the way Tamra treated him and Jen on the season, felt like it was totally unfair, felt like Tamra was putting it on for the cameras. And in the episode, he did throw Eddie under the bus a little bit, but it was really mostly about Tamra. And there were a couple comments about Eddie. So Tamra's having this conversation with Eddie, and she's just basically going off about how she doesn't like this, she doesn't like that. And here's the one thing I will notice about Eddie. And I really am not, I'm not going to talk shit necessarily about like, Eddie's got some things going on. I don't know what it is, but when I look at Eddie in this show and in these episodes, he gives me such a condescending energy. And maybe you guys don't feel it, but he gives me such a condescending energy that is so, it's hard to watch. I would die if I was married to a man that looked at me like I was dumb or stupid or too much or annoying, or he can't stand Tamara. Am I alone here? I do not get a feeling like Eddie fully supports his wife. Now, I can understand being like, I'm sick and tired of you dealing with this. But Eddie comes at it from a place of like, not only I'm sick and tired of you dealing with this, he's like, shut up. That's his energy. It's like, shut up. You know, it's really strange. Robin says Eddie's worried about Diddy. It's a really like, and it's funny because he got together with Tamara when she was already on the show. He started dating her when she was already on the show. He knew who she was. So it's a little obnoxious to me that after years and years of being on a show like this, you decide I want nothing to do with the show. I don't want to be on the show. I don't want to deal with your drama. He apparently did not want her to return back to the show. He's not supportive of reality TV at all. But then like get off my screen. Because I'd rather him just not be in any episode than be in the episodes and make us feel stupid that we're there. Do you know what I mean? It's interesting. Oh, wow. Lisa says something really, really wild. Simon treated her the same way, which actually I've never thought of it that way. But if you go back to watch earlier episodes, I mean, Simon, I think, was a lot colder, but I believe that Simon was, truthfully, I do believe that Simon was like, he was tough on her. He was very, very tough on her. It's so interesting. So Tamara is talking to Eddie about this and about the fact that they're going to this party. I'm just going to cut right to the party because nothing else really matters. Honestly, nothing else like, oh no, Shannon. We did have a moment with Shannon. My heart broke for Shannon last night because I'm a dog lover. And we all know that dogs are emotional support animals. I don't care what you say. Like if you're depressed, hang with a dog. Because these, you know, animals will love the crap out of you. But she's alone in this home. Her ex is now dating her new cast member. Her ex is now suing her. And in this, this is the moment here where we see, we get the, like, we didn't get a lot of Shannon in this episode. We really didn't. So I don't know when this was filmed. But we see a scene where she's talking to Adeline. This is her daughter in New York. And she's talking to her about, are you dating? Are you this? And Adeline's like, I'm not dating, but I wouldn't be against if someone took me to Carbone, which I laughed. I thought that was cute. I think her relationship with her daughters is sweet, but it's also really uncomfortable for any of you girls that have had moms that are struggling. It's really, really tough to be a daughter of a mother who doesn't like fully have their lives together, especially at that age. Because at that age, when you're 18, 19 and you're in college, like I feel like you do feel like mom should take care of you still at that age. Like you're too young to have to take care of your mother's, like clean up your mother's shit. And I can't tell you how hard it must be for her daughters to have to deal with not only the DUI, but the incessant drinking, the tons of fighting that happens on this show. And then most importantly, her mom being heartbroken over a man. That's not going to be easy, right? But I think that they all love her and they're very close with her. So that's good. Now, at the end of the conversation, she hangs up and she gets into bed with Archie. And Andrew said something really interesting. He says, you can literally almost kill your dog with a DUI, and they will still love you. Archie will never leave Shannon's side, even though his life was in danger. This is like, Archie is really the star of the show. And it was so sweet when they just laid together and she's like, I have Archie. Like, I worry that Shannon's going to end alone with Archie. You know what I mean? We do have this scene earlier where Tamra is sitting in, and I knew this was a weird scene, and I find out later that she had been shooting something at her house, and then right after they already wrapped, they had this last minute, like, oh my God, look what just came up on People Magazine. So on People Magazine, this article had come up that John Jansen is suing Shannon. We talked about it here on the show. In real time, Tamra finds out about it. Now, it looks like Tamra's calling Shannon to check in on her. Tamra actually told Ryan Bailey on his podcast this morning that I was told by production to call Shannon and check in on her. So in case you're wondering if Tamra actually cared for Shannon's well-being in that moment, I don't know necessarily if that's the case. She was told to call Shannon, and Shannon does not pick up. And 2 minutes later, the phone rings and it's Shannon. So Tamra picks up, hello, speaker, butt dial. And on this butt dial, Alexis's Shannon is crying to someone, hysterical. She's like, I can't. I'm so overwhelmed. Alexis hired a publicist to get this out there. And it's so like a violation of privacy when you are butt dialed and you listen to their conversation. And the worst thing could be is if they're talking about you, right? But not only was that, like that butt dial was on a TV show now. And Tamra was like, and then the second that Shannon recognizes that she's on a phone call, she goes, hello? And Tamra goes, "Ugh," hangs up. It's shitty. That's shitty. She doesn't call Shannon back. She calls Heather. Oh my God, Heather, you won't believe what just happened. And this is word for word what happened. And this is word for word. And don't worry, we hear her a few times because then she went and told everyone at the dinner at Katie's house. So we have the dinner at Katie's house. I'll just kind of like skip ahead a little bit. We have the dinner at Katie's. It's Emily and Shane. It's Tamra and Eddie. It's Ryan and Jen. And of course, it's Katie and her husband, her normal husband, Matt. And she's trying to explain to Matt like what's going on, but she finds out that there's this big beef between Ryan and Eddie. And she's like, oh my God, what's going to happen? I hope they don't break my $80 wine glasses. I like Katie a lot. But Katie kind of fell into the background because at this party, immediately they start serving alcohol, right? They're serving wine or champagne to Emily. Of course, Shane, we know, doesn't drink, so he's on his Diet Coke or whatever. And then they're serving alcohol. They serve a dirty martini to Tamra and nothing to Eddie, which was interesting. Eddie does not drink. I don't think he enjoys drinking. He even said on the episode last night, he's like, I only drink if I have to. But this was not a drinking night for Eddie. And it gives me a lot of like dad vibes. It gives me a lot of police officer vibes. Like he's watching over her. It doesn't make me feel good, you guys. I don't feel like Eddie and Tamara have like there's something about that relationship that is weirding me out. Because Tamara is such like an alpha in that relationship, but Eddie controls her in certain ways. So it's really a weird thing. Cindy says Eddie is no fun, and I totally agree. I don't think Eddie brings any fun to the plate. I have not seen Eddie bring any like joy to Tamra before the bath. The bath was in the bath, it drained all his fun out. And it's not about alcohol. Paige says Eddie has a heart condition. I'm not saying you have to be drunk. I mean, Shane is sober and never drinks a lick of alcohol, but he brings like joy to the show. So Tamara's drinking a dirty martini. Now, I will tell you as someone that loves a dirty martini, if you are drinking a dirty martini on no food, you will get buzzed, if not drunk, off one. And I feel like they were probably cocktailing for at least an hour before they went and had dinner outside. It was still light out. I'm sure they each had 2 drinks. Tamra got drunk, buzzed, drunk, call it what it is. But Eddie at one point looks over at Tamra like when she's drinking, and he even goes over to Matt. How embarrassing. It's still daytime. The sun is still out. And he goes over to Matt and he goes, please stop serving her alcohol. They haven't even sat down for dinner. I'm not saying that Tamra was, I'm not saying it's embarrassing for Tamra. Tamra was fine. She was not over the top. We've seen her really drunk. This was not. I really do believe that this was embarrassing for Tamra that Eddie had to like police her alcohol. It can't feel good, which makes me wonder why Tamara does it to Shannon. It's just all like this weird, wild web of why are we being so on top of other people's lives like that? I have said to Lance in the past, like, hey, like, enough, enough. But it's definitely not after 2 drinks. It's definitely like, I don't know. It was really interesting. So they have dinner, and at the dinner is where this oh no, Ryan is trying to be friendly with Eddie. He goes up to Eddie and he's like, "Hey man, how are you?" And Eddie's like, Eddie has a perma frown. Do you notice that? And he goes, "You're not gonna hug me?" Which is weird because if Lance went up to his buddy and was like, "You're not gonna hug me," I'd be like, "Wait, you guys hug?" But I guess it's one of those, "You're not gonna hug me," and Eddie is like, "No," and walks away. It is so uncomfortable. So of course Ryan gets upset and he kind of goes off to Jen. He's like, he's a little baby bitch. So they're both upset with each other. And then when they sit outside at dinner, instead of having just a lovely dinner talking about A, B, and C, Tamara decides this is the moment that I'm going to bring up the podcast episode. And sure enough, it turns into a larger fight. Now, I don't need to go through word for word exactly what was said, but Tamara brought up the FBI. There was a lot of weirdness. I thought Tamara did go too low. And I don't understand. Did I think Ryan's podcast about Tamara and Eddie was nice? No. But what I don't understand is why Tamara was allowed for the entire last season to talk badly about Jen and Ryan. In fact, I think Ryan got it worse than Jen last season. And Ryan's not allowed to defend himself. That I don't understand. It to me is a little bit odd. I will say, a lot of people are like, why are the men getting involved? I think it's because Tamara involved Ryan. I don't think the men would have gotten involved had Tamara not gone after him so much last season. It was like she really had a bone to pick with Ryan more than Jen last season. Don't you guys agree? So they get into this whole thing, and then, Tamara tries to bring up that Ryan did this about her and did this, talked about her as a parent. And I understand that Ryan posting a picture of Tamara's son, Ryan, saying like, why aren't you focusing on this Ryan instead of him? Yes, it is a low blow. They both had low blows, but you can't start shit with someone and not expect them to fight back. If you are starting to take someone down on a national TV show, you have to expect that they're going to respond. And so Tamara's not above any of this. And for some reason, this is something that we're seeing week after week after week, is that Tamara is not able to take it. She can dish it and she cannot take it. And this part is why it's so hard. It's so hard to like her, because I would like Tamara so much more on the show if she just could handle getting thrown under the bus a little more. She can't. So at this point, she starts bringing stuff up, and Daddy Eddie, pulls her face over. Stop it right now, like that. And Tamara gets so mad and so offended that she decides to get up from the party, go try to find a car, stumbles a little bit, and Eddie, meanwhile, doesn't go anywhere, which is so mortifying for Tamara. The whole thing was pretty mortifying. Oh, Michelle says, my theory is that Tamara may have been pre-gaming at her house before the party. He actually told her to take it easy before her first drink at the party. Oh, there you go. There you go. So maybe she knew we're going into an awkward situation. She had a little drinky drink while she was getting glammed. Okay, so he knew. I still think it's got to be, there's no way they went home that night and had a decent night. He can't stand her drinking. And, Ryan said on that podcast, that original podcast, Ryan said to the girls that last season on the Nobu episode, the episode where Tamara threw her napkin at Jen's face, drunk, right before that scene, they went into the bathroom. They were, touching up their makeup together, Jen and Tamara. And Tamara told Jen, Let's just have a fun night tonight. She also said in that conversation, allegedly, Eddie hates that I do this show. He hates that I get drunk and comes home like this. He wants to kill me when I'm like this. And then she went upstairs and 5 minutes later threw the napkin in Jen's face when the cameras went on. I believe it. I believe it because I do believe Tamara does turn it on for cameras. I don't think Tamara is this way in real life. I think in real life, Tamara is a lot kinder than she is on the show. Okay. Anyway, the episode ends. I'm trying to think if anything crazy happens after that. I don't believe it. But on social media, of course, today on Two Teas in a Pod, which I texted Teddy this morning because I think that she did. I think Erica is phenomenal on that show. I don't know if you guys feel that, but I feel like, I don't know. I think she's phenomenal on Two Teas in a Pod. And she talks very unbiased, which is really nice on that show. So she's on the show and she's talking about how Jen posted on her social media yesterday. Jen posted something along the lines of, repost the episode, girls, about that, all about TRH girls, like repost the podcast so we can be reminded exactly what happened before tonight's episode. And she called Tamara trash in this story. So then in the clip of Two Teas in a Pod, Teddy is reading that Instagram story and mentions that she doesn't like, of all things, she doesn't like that she was called trash. And in the comment section, Jennifer Pedranti responded and said this: "Girls, I made the post." So remember, she's responding to Erica and Teddy talking about her. She said, "Girls, I made the post. I completely understand the statement of calling her trash doesn't sit well with you. It's not my nature either. But I apologize. I cannot think of another name for her. She has zero class. Peeing like a dog on my back patio. Oh my God, right? We never talked about that, but gross. Seriously gross. Like, I would literally die if one of my friends peed on my back patio right here. I would actually want to cry. It's so weird. Sticking her finger in Emily's butt, peeing in Katie's driveway, crying in Big Bear that she's mad at God, screaming at Shannon that she's an alcoholic, which we all know Tamara uses alcohol as liquid courage. I could go on and on. She made big allegations against Ryan. She will be hearing about it. I have so much respect for you, Erica. I certainly understand I am new and Tamara has been around me a long time. That doesn't mean that me, my partner, or my family take her bashing quietly. Teddy, I enjoyed you at the Traders Party. It feels like you're one of those girls that like whoever your boyfriend likes and hates on or best friend likes and hates on whoever your best friend hates. I'm different, but can understand your stance, being that you are so close to Tamara. I was once as well. Let's not forget that. Ouch. Ouch and a half. She basically is saying it can happen to you too. Not a good episode for Tamara. It was really tough. It's really tough to stand up for this behavior. Like, I don't know how many times we can do that. And she keeps saying it's in the edit. Like, you're not seeing it all. You're not seeing it all. They're not showing you this. You're not showing you this. And it's hard for me to that's hard. Anyway, I hope you guys do not pee on your patio this weekend. I really hope you guys try to find a local bathroom. I'm sending love to my Hurricane Helene peeps. I'm sending love to all of the people that are going through tough times right now. I'll talk about it more on Patreon. I spent a lot of last night crying. Tough times in this world right now. I love you guys very much. Appreciate you and your support. Seriously, the Doser community is everything to me. Join the Facebook group. Join my Patreon. You'll get an episode this weekend. Join members only. We'll do a members only next week. Thank you for supporting and sharing the show with other people. I love you. Bye.